That ain't right. There we go. A little better light. Hey, everybody. Welcome into the High Noon Rant. I'm Pugs Moran. We do this every... Let me get the chat rooms together. Chat rooms working. There we go. Hi, Pugs Moran. The High Noon Rant. A 2-hour stream of consciousness, which is just somebody speaking for 2 hours without any breaks, without any interruptions, without any... What do you think, Bob? None of that. Just me. And what am I talking about? Current events. I'm going to give you everything that you need to know about today. We do it in 4 quarters. First quarter, we call that antecedently on this day. That's where we take a look back at history, the history of this day, things that have occurred on this day that have shaped our understanding of what it represents. Quarter 2 is birthdays. People say it's their birthday, so whatever. Who am I to judge? We read off a list of people who are celebrating birthdays today, notable quotables, not just randos, but people who we know, and we decide if they're cool or not, and whether or not we wish them a happy birthday. Quarter 3 is the deads. This is where I have a little bit of fun on deads. These are, again, notable quotables, people of note who have passed away on this day. And we open up their life's resume and we decide if they went to heaven or hell. That's the fun one. I like that one. I like banishing people to hell. I don't know why. Probably because in real life, I am just as feckless as they come. But in this universe I've created, I get to send people to hell. Quarter 4 is where the rubber hits the road. That's the meat and potatoes. That's the bulk of the show stream. That's current events. That's all the things that are happening today. The headlines, the hot topics, whatever it is that people are talking about, whatever it is that you're being accosted with around the water cooler. Do you still have water coolers? I haven't been in enough. Do we still have offices? Someone comes up to the water cooler. Hey, did you hear about? Well, this is a service to you, this stream. I try to make sure that when that person comes up to you, hey, did you hear about? You can say to them, yeah, because I listen to the High Noon Rant every Monday through Friday with Pugs Moran. This show needs to be noted. It exists entirely. It's viewer funded. We're like PBS for stupid people. No, actually, that's not true. We're not PBS for stupid people because we're not stupid. We are PBS for interesting people. There you go. Because PBS is for boring people. A lot of boring stuff there. Chat screen. Boom. There you go. Thank you, April. Producing from afar. Sorry. April reminded me. Hold on. Is the chat screen on? Wait. Now the chat screen's on. Hold on. Was it not? Oh, boy. Okay. Test. Hi, everybody. That's me. I just said test. Thank you. It wasn't on before? I am so sorry. That is my bad. That is just one in a string of missteps I'll probably make before this show is done. Okay. Show runs on your tips. Thank you so much. Every day, the big tipper of the previous day, they get to be what we call the executive producer of this here show. So today, let's tell you who today's executive producer is, because did we get a tip last night? Or maybe this morning. I didn't see when it came in. But we got a big tip. Thank you so much. Today's show is executive produced by Adam. Let me take a moment here and just say that, I don't like to say, well, big tip, big, whatever. I don't give numbers. I never give numbers. I don't think that that's cool, because if you can only give X dollars, that's real important to me. And it's a very kind gesture on your part. But also, I don't want you guys to misinterpret that this isn't the biggest tip I ever got, but Adam dropped a nice tip, man, a really nice tip, especially for at this stage of the month. So thank you very much. Adam is our executive producer. If you would like to produce the show tomorrow, all you got to do, drop a little tip there in the Cash App or the Venmo, whichever. All right, there we go. We're done with all of that stuff. What's on my mind? Well, we're about to find out. We're about to get 2 hours of what's on my mind. But was there anything that I wanted to update you on? Earlier in the week, I told you about here at the One Percenter compound located in beautiful, sunny downtown Highland Park, Texas. We had an invasion of what I was describing as some prehistoric hellhawk, a gigantic hawk that has taken up residence in our magnificent, at least 2 centuries old tree. This tree is at least 200 years old. This tree is amazing. And this prehistoric hellhawk, very large. I described him more like a Canada goose. I mean, he's like the size of a Canada. When that thing spread its legs, when it put its wings, I walked up on it. When it was on the ground, which is another very strange behavior. A backyard with a dog like the dog that I got here. This dog would love to fight that prehistoric hellhawk. This dog would live for that fight. And then we'd spend the next 12 hours in the emergency room because she'd get carved up. She'd kill it, but she'd get carved up. Anyway. Or maybe not, because this freaking prehistoric hellhawk, have you ever seen those YouTube videos of like eagles carrying a deer? And you're like, that can't happen. Well, apparently it does. And with all kidding aside, this hellhawk looks like she could probably pick up and carry my 75-pound Catahoula leopard bulldog. Big ass. I mean, she's a big dog. I got a big dog. Anyway, I did see the hellhawk yesterday. The hellhawk was sitting perched on the roof of the house next door. It's just looking glorious. Just like, yeah, I'm new. Either that or, yeah, I got fat over the winter. Whatever. Maybe the hawk was here before and it just got really fat. But it's a big hellhawk. No problems. Yesterday, I also told you about how the tree was shitting now. There was stuff falling out of the tree. Still don't know what that is. So I have no idea what's going on. All right, let's get started. Stream of consciousness. I feel like I'm comfortable now. Let me say hi to the chat room first. Peter Lufkin in the chat room. Hi, Peter. April in the chat room. Hi, April. Al is in the chat room. Host, I'm in the chat room. Let me go back to the very early moments of the chat room today, because you know I like to give my love to Rhonda. There she is. It's my girl. To Rhonda first in the chat room. Barney's here. Jen's here. Everybody's here. Seth is here. Yeah. Post up, man. Say hi. Say hi if you're here. Make sure I want to make sure that I send the positive energy and the love to you and your name. Kevin's here. All right, stream of consciousness starts now. Again, what is a stream of consciousness? It's just an uninterrupted flow of thoughts that occur in the moment and then are blown out. Filterless, without a governor. And I'm not worried about people like, you're worried you go filterless, you just start talking, you don't know, because I'm not an asshole. Again, I'm not an asshole. If I was an asshole, then yeah, I'd be worried about my filter. I would be worried about that. But because I'm not naturally inclined to be a jerk, my filter's fine. Yeah, I tend to always err on the side of thoughtfulness and compassion. Sure I do, says all of my ex-girlfriends and wives. Anyway, we'll move on. It is the High Noon Rant with me, Pugs Moran, the 15th day. Did you have a nice of February? Did you have a nice Valentine's Day? I didn't. What did I do? What did I do yesterday? Didn't do anything. Watched a whole. Oh, I know what I did. I ate an edible. I ate an edible from Sacred Oils. Yeah. I ate a legal edible last night. I was like, it's Valentine's Day. I'm going to eat an illegal edible. So yeah, and I slept like 13 hours. I woke up at 9 o'clock this morning. That's late for me. And I went to sleep at like, I don't know, 11. I don't know what time I was falling asleep. Anyway, let's get started. It is February the 15th, the 46th day of the year. There are 320 more of these left. Why? Because of leap year. We got a leap year going on. All right. Quarter one, let's get started with what we like to call antecedently on this day. Why do we call it that? Because we're pretentious. And this day in history sounded boring. Antecedently on this day in 1493, while on board the Nina, Christopher Columbus writes an open letter widely distributed upon his return to Portugal, describing his discoveries and the unexpected items he came across in the New World. How exciting. Sexy native women, I imagine, was a big bulk of that letter. Antecedently on this day in 1764, the city of St. Louis is established in Spanish Louisiana. Now Missouri. Boy, I know, I've told you before, I make a lot of fun of St. Louis. Again, to Chicago, just so you know where I come from, why I have these feelings towards St. Louis. If you were raised in Chicago, Milwaukee's your little brother, Indianapolis is like your little sister, and then St. Louis is like your brother-in-law, your idiot brother-in-law, who you're like, oh, we got to put up with him. That's how Chicago kind of feels about St. Louis. But on this day in 1764, St. Louis became a city. Now, here's what's so, I don't know. St. Louis started out so great. St. Louis started out as the Paris of the Prairie. St. Louis started out as just this French architecture and French culture and sophistication and elegance and all that stuff. And then the American hillbillies took it over, and now it's Missouri. Now it's just St. Louis was once grand, and now it's. You've been there? I've been there a lot of times. Once again, I like to say something good about a place after I trash it. Emo's Pizza in St. Louis. St. Louis style pizza, Emo's Pizza. Very good. Antecedently on this day in 1898, the battleship USS Maine explodes and sinks in Havana Harbor in Cuba, killing about 274 of the ship's roughly 354 crew. The disaster pushes the United States to declare war on Spain. Okay, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this because you know that I'm one of these guys. My mother wrote checks so that I could attend a journalism school, and also the government. But, you know, so I take this seriously. This is a very serious incident in the history of American journalism. And it's not just, you know, a singular incident. There was a number of things that occurred around this time. But this is the famous Hearst headline. Not William. Is it William Randolph Hearst? Who is it? Wait a second. Let me see. I don't know. Was it William Randolph Hearst? Was that the first one? There were so many Hearsts. Anyway, the first one, the really evil one. He controlled the media in America almost entirely. He owned all the newspapers. And so he ran the headline, "Remember the Maine, to hell with Spain." Why? Because he had some interest in us going to war with Spain. Maybe it was just to sell papers or whatever it was. Point is, if you've ever seen Citizen Kane, you know the guy I'm talking about. That's who Orson Welles was portraying in Citizen Kane. Now, what led up to this was, first of all, the Maine, this is a very real thing. The Maine exploded. The Maine, it was the newspapers, the Hearst papers in America all said that it was Spain. It was an act of war, and we now need to go to war with Spain. And we did. We had the Spanish-American War. We need to go to war with Spain because they blew up the Maine. History says that, this was a coal fire that ignited about 2 hours before it exploded. They were treating the coal fire, and, you know, that's what happened. Anyway, but William Randolph Hearst, the newspaper man, remember, he had great media influence in this country, and he wanted a war. Wars sell papers, man. So what he famously told his photographer that he had sent down there, he sent him down to Havana, Cuba, because there had been a number of incidents that were leading up to tensions between the United States and Spain, but it didn't look like we were going to war. We need one big incident. So what William Randolph Hearst famously told his photographer is, "You provide the pictures and I'll provide the war." It's American journalism right there at its finest from the very beginning. And of course, the picture of the flaming Maine was sent to William Randolph Hearst, and he ran that with the headline, "Remember the Maine, to hell with Spain." And we went to war, and people died, and papers were sold. Antecedently on this day in 1933 in Miami, Giuseppe Gonzaga, he tried to kill Roosevelt, tried to kill FDR. FDR? Yeah, it was FDR. But he ended up killing Anton Cermak, the mayor of Chicago. He missed. Antecedently on this day in 1992, the serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer is sentenced in Milwaukee to 15 terms to life in prison. He wouldn't make it that far. He would get stabbed in the laundry by somebody. He was doing laundry. First of all, that doubly suck. Doing laundry. Ugh, I hate doing laundry. But then to get stabbed while doing laundry? No, thank you. That was in 92. On this day in 2013, a meteor explodes over Russia, injuring 1,500 people as a shockwave blows out windows and rocks buildings. This happens unexpectedly. All of this shit is going to happen unexpectedly. This happens unexpectedly only hours before the expected closest ever approach of the larger and unrelated asteroid. And there's asteroid numbers. DA14. Who cares? Do you remember this? I remember this. Remember the videos that were going around, man? Crazy. There were people had dash cam videos of this thing streaking across the sky and then the explosion and the shock waves. There was security video all over Russia showing an earthquake from the shockwave from this thing. And they didn't see it. They didn't see it. They didn't see it. They saw the bigger one. They were like, that bigger one's going to miss us. What they didn't see was this one. That was on this day in 2013. All right, folks, that concludes quarter one. Antecedently on this day, now it's time for us to quantum. They claim it's their birthday. I'm not going to check county records, so we're just going to go with what these are. These are public records. Births, born on this day in 1907, my Joker, the greatest Joker to ever be the Joker. I know, the Joker is one of those roles. Wait, was he the Joker? Yeah, he was the Joker. The Joker, I've said this before, the Joker is one of those roles that if you want to be considered a really great actor, just play the Joker. Because everybody who has ever played the Joker, oh my God. Why? Because playing the Joker allows you a license to be so over the top that you can try anything. As an actor, you can try anything, any style, any delivery, any cadence. You can do whatever you want with the Joker because the Joker is going to be accepted as just weird anyway. Cesar Romero, born on this day in 1907. He was my Joker. Remember Joker from the Batman TV show? He had that laugh. Oh, God. Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill is the greatest Joker. Mark Hamill does the Joker voice for all the Batman cartoons. And when Jack Nicholson did the Joker. Jack Nicholson should get an Oscar. I mean, I know the movie's not worthy, but what a dramatic performance. Everybody who plays the Joker gets that. Heath Ledger. Oh, my God, Heath Ledger. Stop even trying to be the Joker. Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix, give him an Oscar for playing the Joker. He was so good. So, don't give me this. The best Joker of all time is old dead man, Cesar Romero. Born on this day in 1927, he claims it's his birthday, although not loudly because he's 6 feet under. Harvey Korman. Born on this day in 1927. Harvey Korman, Carol Burnett Show. So glad we had this time together. All right, I got nothing else on Harvey Korman other than he cracked up a lot. Like when you watch old sketches from the Carol Burnett Show, and I know that none of you do because I'm the only weirdo that does that on YouTube. But when you watch old sketches from the Carol Burnett Show, Harvey Korman cracks up a lot. Like Lorne Michaels would have been so mad at him. And he's not as cute as Jimmy Fallon. Like Jimmy Fallon, when Jimmy Fallon cracks up on live TV, Lorne Michaels is supposedly okay with it because Jimmy's so cute. I hate Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy's so cute. Harvey Korman, he got away with it too, but it wasn't cute. It wasn't the same thing. And Lorne would not have accepted it from a distinguished professional such as Harvey Korman. Blazing Saddles. Maybe that's where you know him from. He's did a lot of stuff. Cool old guy, funny old guy. I don't know. Whatever. He was like 80 when I was 5. Actually, that's not true, which is really humbling to me at this age, because now when I think about it, when I was watching Harvey Korman thinking he was 80, Harvey Korman was probably younger than I am now. That's right. Born on this day in 1951, one of the 5 most beautiful women I've ever been in contact with. And by contact, I mean interview or seen or been in the same room with. Now, I have this list in my head of the 5 most beautiful women. I'm just like, yeah, what are the 5 most beautiful women? I've told you the list before. Kim Kardashian is on there. Kim Kardashian up close is just like, what? How is that allowed? She is so flawlessly beautiful. Who else is on there? Carmen Electra is on there. Carmen Electra is another one. It's like, oh my God. Jane Seymour celebrating a birthday today. Jane Seymour came into the studio of a radio show Kelly and I were doing. We interviewed her and her husband. Her husband, I don't know what they were doing. I don't know what she came in for. But she had to have been 60 when she came in, right? In her 60s. Yeah, no, she had to have been in her 60s. And she was gorgeous. She's just gorgeous. She just walked in. She's like a 65-year-old Jane Seymour. She's wearing a sundress. She's got like a floppy hat. She looks exactly how you want Jane Seymour from a 1970 miniseries with Richard Chamberlain to look. It was ridiculous. Jane Seymour, happy birthday. Born on this day in 1951, one of the 5 most beautiful women I have ever seen face to face. Born on this day in 1954, here's a baller. Here's an all-time great. Here's an icon. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Groening. American anime Simpsons, creator of The Simpsons. Matt Groening, man, talk about a cultural influence, huh? Woo! Born on this day in 1955. We're gonna do a moment on this guy because I like to do these from time to time. Oops, sorry. Christopher McDonald, ladies and gentlemen, is celebrating a birthday. Christopher McDonald, ladies and gentlemen, is celebrating a birthday today. You might be asking yourself, who the hell is Christopher McDonald? He's one of them That Guy actors. You know how I love my That Guy actors. Well, Christopher McDonald has been a That Guy actor for the better part of, I don't know, forever. So here he is. This is Christopher McDonald. I'm going to show him to you, and you're going to go, oh, yeah, I know that guy. Here he is. Christopher McDonald often plays a bad guy. Nobody in Hollywood is better in a scene where he's been rightfully double-crossed. And his reaction to being found out as a con and being that's Christopher McDonald. He does that look better than anyone. Oh, is this guy? He's great. I don't even know one thing. What was he? Is he Shooter McGavin? Is that probably where we know him best from, as Shooter McGavin from Happy Gilmore, right? There you go. But he's been in a lot of things, and he always plays kind of a dick, but he's also really good at comedy. He's awesome. I love him. Christopher McDonald. Happy birthday to him. Born on this day, 1955. Born on this day in 1964. Someone else I love dearly. Chris Farley. Chris Farley is celebrating a birthday today. I've talked a lot about Chris Farley because I was lucky enough in the 90s to have interactions with him. Not a friend like that. Don't ever want. Chris Farley, we were buddies. No, we weren't buddies. But he did my radio show, not my radio show, the show I produced, but he did that show, and he lived in the building, and I saw him in the building all the time, and he would drunkenly knock on the door of the morning show right next to the little production studio I was working in. I'd open it up, and there'd be a disheveled Chris. Hey man, how you doing? I'm gonna do a little radio this morning. All right, Chris, come on, I'll bring you back. All right, cool. And then he'd do our morning show, and then he'd do Mancow's morning show, and he would just hang out. He was great. And a lovely man. Certainly in his private moments, very a sad guy, I guess. Holy crap, I just realized something. Oh, never mind. Okay, I want to move on. Chris Farley died on this day. Or born on this day. Born on this day. The world got Chris Farley on this day. Okay, never mind. Bring down the mood. Born on this day in 1971. Also, another incredibly gifted comedic actress, ladies and gentlemen, Alex Borstein. Alex Borstein, born on this day. Which great role do you talk about first? Well, obviously, I think you talk about Family Guy, right? She's Lois. She's Lois Griffith. Mad TV. She did 2 decades on it? It seems like she was always on Mad TV. Maybe it was just in the early days. Also, if you watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is a really good show on Prime. It was intended to be the story of Joan Rivers and what it was like to be Joan Rivers as a comedian in the 1960s New York comedy scene, and what it was like for a woman getting on, Ed Sullivan and all that kind of stuff. It's a fascinating show. If you love entertainment and entertainment history and the world of entertainment and all that, you'll enjoy it. It's great. And Rachel Brosnahan as Mrs. Maisel, Midge, is so good, so great. But the best thing in that show is the birthday girl. Why did I just black? I was like Susan Bornstein. I'm like, that's not it. Alex Borstein. She plays Susie. Alex Borstein is Susie, Mrs. Maisel's manager, the second biggest character in the entire show. I mean, she's like the second lead. Susie, Alex Borstein, having a birthday today. Also, Lois Griffin. Man, those are pretty good roles. Mad TV. Also, born on this day in 1972. And I just read a story this morning about how he leads his hometown hockey league in points. Still playing at a high level and still playing every day. Born on this day in 1972. One of the all-time greats, Jaromir Jagr. Born on this day in 1976, Brandon Boyd from the band Incubus. I like Incubus. My friend Aaron took me to an Incubus show once. He's really into Incubus. Incubus is fine. Incubus is like one of those bands where you forget about, and then you hear them and you're like, okay, they got at least 3 songs. They're pretty good. My thing on them was that their songs always seem the same to me. Like I remember at the concert at one point thinking, I can't tell when one song ends and the other one begins because all the songs sound the same to me. I don't know. But they're good. They're good. Like I said, they're a band that like you forget, or I forget about, maybe I should say. Because right now, my friend Aaron is probably like, what do you mean? They're not forgettable. Well, you got a Brandon Boyd tattoo on your six-pack. You don't have a six-pack. Just kidding. Anyway, happy birthday to Brandon Boyd, lead singer, sexy man. I'll give him that. He's a sexy man. Is that part of the appeal? Is that a chick band? Is Incubus a chick band? Is that why I never really got into them? Are they a chick band? I don't know. They're not bad, though. Brandon Boyd, Incubus, born on this day in 1976. Gary Clark Jr., an Austin icon. Gary Clark Jr., born on this day in 1984, guitar player extraordinaire. I've had the opportunity to both interview and see Gary Clark Jr. He is tremendous. What do we got here? Well, we got somebody. Hey, wait a second. We got to stop down. We got somebody new in the chat room. We celebrate new people. Hey, Pugs, and a big hello to the group. First time poster, long time listener. Well, welcome, Todd. Gee Todd. I'm going to say Todd. I'm going to call you Todd. I think the gees maybe not necessary. I don't know, but welcome. What a wonderful thing. It is a good day. See, this always happens when the show is executive produced by Adam Reyna. Thank you to Adam Reyna once again. All right. Who else we got here? Birthdays. Gary Clark Jr. Finally, last birthday of the day, 1995, Megan Thee Stallion. I'm an old man. And there's a whole group of not Beyoncés. That's what I call them. They're the not Beyoncés. There's Beyonce, who I know, and then there's the not Beyoncés. And Megan Thee Stallion is one of those in that group of not Beyoncés. It's filled with a bunch of Cardi B's and Nicki Minaj's and people like that. I don't know. I don't listen to much contemporary pop music. Do I like Megan? Who's the heavy one? Lizzo, that's another one. Who's the heavy one? Okay, that's the reason that she sticks out. And the only reason she sticks out is because I did 2 years of radio or streams with James Parker. 93.3 The Bone, James Parker, Afternoons, your new afternoon show there. James Parker doesn't like her. Or he doesn't like that she's heavy. I don't know. That's a him thing. He's full of hot takes. But I don't really know any of these people. But it's Megan Thee Stallion's birthday, so happy birthday to her. I think I do know stuff about her, though. Isn't she from Houston? And isn't she called the Stallion because somebody referred to her as a child? They said that kid's going to be a stallion or something, and she just always kept, I don't know, something like that. I don't know, whatever. Happy birthday, Megan Thee Stallion. Cool name. Is she the one? Who's the one who's the prodigy? Like I don't know. The not Beyoncés are very confusing to me. One of them is a prodigy. One of them is like super accredited in like classical music and stuff like that, but also she's one of the not Beyoncés. I don't know who that is. Is it the one with the flute? Who's the flautist? Who's the one that's like some like really well-regarded flautist? I don't know. The not Beyoncés. That's all you need to know. By the way, there's also a whole group that I call the not Taylors. There's the not Taylors and not Beyoncés. That's moving on. All right, let's talk about the people who died on this day. These are the people who died. These are the people who died. Let's do it. We're going to open up their resumes, and we're going to either send them to heaven or hell. Lizzo, Barney says. Thank you, Barney. Oh, I got Barney in there with the assist. Al as well. Thank you, guys. Let's see. Who died on this day? Nat King Cole, American singer and pianist. He died on this day in 1965. We're putting him in heaven. I don't know anything about him. I know he had a beautiful voice, Nat King Cole, right? I couldn't name a Nat King Cole song. Christmas. I think there's a Nat King Cole Christmas song that can't name it, but I think it'd be like, that's Nat King Cole. Here's all I know about Nat King Cole. My grandpa is his favorite singer. My grandpa loved him some Nat King Cole. So Nat King Cole goes to heaven. Because grandpa sure as hell ain't there. No, he probably is. He probably is. No, my grandpa's definitely in heaven. He was a good dude. So now he's up there taking private concerts with Nat King Cole. Dead on this day in 1981, Mike Bloomfield. Mike Bloomfield. Did Mike Bloomfield die of cancer or a drug overdose? I'm not sure. Might have been cancer. I don't know. Mike Bloomfield is an interesting dude. For those of you who are really into music and like going deep into music and, can go past, I don't know, 1990 with what, Mike Bloomfield was a very important dude. Here's the story of Mike Bloomfield. Mike Bloomfield was a rich kid. Yeah, super rich Jewish kid from Glencoe, which is a very high-end area of Chicago. Attended New Trier High School. This is a high school that if you go to its Wikipedia page and click on the alumni, you're like, oh my God, every person with money that has ever lived went to this high school. It's just nothing but super rich people. And like presidents and shit, like New Trier. Actually, that's not true. But I do know that Donald Rumsfeld went there. So that's where Mike Bloomfield went. Mike Bloomfield had a lot of money. And at some point when he was around 14 years old, Mike Bloomfield started sneaking out of his house in the super wealthy north side of Chicago, and would get on a train and go all the way down to the south side, lugging his little guitar. Little 14-year-old rich kid, Jewish kid on the south side of Chicago, walking into blues clubs, stepping up on stage and blowing everyone away. Mike Bloomfield was legit. Writing in 2001, keyboardist, songwriter, and record producer Al Cooper, no less a source than Al Cooper, okay, said Bloomfield's talent was instantly obvious to his mentors. They knew this was not just another white boy from the north side. This was someone who truly understood what the blues were all about. Among his early supporters, taking under his wing, B.B. King, Muddy Waters, Bob Dylan, and Buddy Guy all discovered Michael in the clubs on Chicago's South Side. Michael used to say, "It's a natural for me in the blues. Black people suffer externally in this country. Jewish people suffer internally. The suffering is the mutual fulcrum of the blues." He would want to be a part of the Paul Butterfield Blues Band. Paul Butterfield, another incredibly talented guy with a similar story. But Mike Bloomfield is a legit dude, man. He's a very interesting guy. And if you want to read further, just Google him. Michael Bloomfield, I'm putting him in heaven. Think about that. Just like the blues. You don't know the blues. Like that's like always been the thing. White boy can't play the blues. He don't know the blues. And then there's this billionaire son. Probably wasn't a billionaire back then, but by today's inflation, he would be a billionaire. A billionaire's son, underage, way underage, like in 8th grade, taking the train and just walking into hardcore. Well, first of all, nobody'd screw with him, right? Because it's like, that's too obvious. A 14-year-old kid with a guitar? You're not going to rob that guy, right? You're going to be like, that's a cop setup. What's he doing out here on the corner at 2 a.m. of 35th and Racine? Anyway, Mike Bloomfield, he's a fascinating guy. He's one of the people that I'm really, really interested in. And if you want to learn a little bit about music history, Mike Bloomfield's a guy to learn about. Dead on this day in 1984, Ethel Merman. I'm putting Ethel Merman in hell for a couple of reasons. First of all, we got some rules here. Football coaches all go directly to hell. If you are a football coach, I don't want to hear it. You go to hell. Definitely college. There is some changing in the attitudes and the energy of professional coaches now. So this may not apply as directly and as absolutely to NFL coaches as it does college. College coaches, they go to hell. Also, actresses. All actresses go to hell. Which, I don't feel it's misogynistic of me at all to say that all actors don't go to hell. Because all actors don't go to hell. But all actresses, they absolutely go to hell. And Ethel Merman is an actress, so she's got to go to hell. But she's also got to go to hell because this woman made a career out of being irritating. And not ironically irritating. Like, it's not like, remember Tiny Tim? Tip through to the tulips. Remember that guy? He was ironically irritating. Ethel Merman was a celebrated irritant. She's a she's that lady. She's oh my God, 10-year-old me. She comes out on the Tonight Show. I'm like, I'm out of here. Time for bed. No way, Ethel Merman. She's in hell. Dead on this day in 1996, McLean Stevenson. He was Colonel. Was he Henry Blake? Yeah, he was Blake, not Potter, from MASH. He left. MASH became the biggest show in America. He left. He's like, I'm the star of this, bitch. See you, losers. Deuces. I am out of here. I'm going to go be a movie star. And that didn't happen for him. He never really had a success again after walking away from MASH in a very cocky way. We're going to put McLean Stevenson, though. We're putting him in heaven because his life must have been hell living with that decision. McLean Stevenson goes to heaven. Dead on this day in 2016, Vanity, Canadian-American singer, songwriter, dancer, and actress. All right, let's pull down the diorama and figure out, I guess the Prince, what would that be? A Prince in the Revolution diorama. So who was Vanity now? Now, Vanity was not, these are all Prince-related women. Sheila E., Vanity, Apollonia, right? So Glamorous Life, that's Sheila E. Apollonia, Apollonia was Purple Rain. She was the girl in Purple Rain that he was after. She Apollonia with the leather suit. My God, nobody could pull off that look. That is like the dumbest. If anybody else in the world had shown up in that Apollonia leather zipper suit and just been like, I'm here, let's have drinks. If anybody else had done that, you'd be like, where's the ball gag? What's going on here? Apollonia pulled that shit off, man. But we're not talking about her. We're talking about Vanity. I don't know who Vanity is. Is Vanity the one who became a junkie and then became like a Christian and all that? I don't know. Yeah, Vanity was a sad sack. We're going to put Vanity in heaven just because why? Why not? She's kind of a sad sack. All right. Dead on this day in 2019, Lee Radziwill. Who? I know. Well, she's one of the people. Yeah, she's famous. She's famous. She deserves a mention here, and she certainly deserves a mention here now because she's having a bit of a moment. Lee Radziwill. Who is Lee Radziwill? Lee Radziwill was a very famous, she's like a Paris Hilton type. She was like a super famous socialite in the 1960s. And 50s, maybe? I don't know. She was the little sister. Imagine this. This is pretty good. She was the little sister of Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy. Jackie Kennedy. She was the first lady who became like, the most iconic woman in America. This was her little sister. So it's almost like, by today's standards, if you look at Kate Middleton, Queen Kate, and like her sister Pippa, right? So that's who Lee Radziwill was. She was like the Pippa. She was like the American Pippa back in the 1960s. And I say she's having a moment because there's a new show on FX, Feud. I think it's the second season of Feud. It's an anthology series where they take a famous Hollywood or culturally significant feud between prominent individuals and they turn it into a miniseries. The first one was great. The first one was Feud, Betty Davis versus Joan Crawford. And it was about the making of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane and about how Betty Davis and Joan Crawford just did nothing but hate on each other that entire filming. This season's Feud is about Truman Capote in New York, the New York society scene of the 1960s. It's about Truman Capote going against this group of female socialites, these like super famous female socialites. And they went and they cast an all-star cast to play all of these people. And Lee Radziwill is being portrayed in this series by Callista Flockhart, Ally McBeal. I haven't watched any of the new season of Feud yet, although I plan on it because it's the first one. The first one about Whatever Happened to Baby Jane was so good. It was so juicy. And I am a straight man. I am a straight man. I just like entertainment business stuff. It was really juicy. Feud was really juicy. So this one I bet is going to be juicy too. I don't really know much about it because it's episodic or it's weekly. It comes on weekly and I refuse to do that. So I have to wait for the entire series to be over and then I'll binge watch at my leisure, all of them. But Lee Radziwill, we're putting her in hell. She's a society bitch. She did nothing in her life. She became famous because her sister did nothing in her life and married a president. She's go to hell. And don't get me wrong, but I adore Callista Flockhart. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing her portrayal. Dead on this day in 2023, we covered it live here, ladies and gentlemen. She's got to go to hell because she's an actress, but Raquel Welch. Raquel Welch, dead on this day in 2023. All right, there you have it. That's going to do it. Those are the first 3 quarters of this year's show. Now it's time to once again thank. Oh boy, I'm getting gassy. This happens with the stream of consciousness when you're not allowed to stop and take breaths and readjust. Sometimes, I get hiccups. Sometimes we get gassy, whatever. Adam is the executive producer of today's show. We thank him so much for his generous contribution. Try to be as honest as I can. I'm not afraid of vulnerability and all that kind of stuff. So, thank you. That was a really nice gesture that from Adam, because I'm often very mean to Adam, but that's kind of our dynamic, and I guess we understand that. So thank you to Adam, today's executive producer. If you would like to produce tomorrow's show, all you got to do is drop a little something there. We'll get you taken care of. Okay. Or you'll get us taken care of, more to the point. I'm trying to figure out what should be the first story, because it's kind of a fluid situation. But let's get into all of the things that are trending and the hot topics and all that stuff. Okay, so we're gonna go with the KC shooting. We did a special stream yesterday, about an hour or so after the show. This news started to break about the shooting there at the end of the Kansas City Chiefs parade yesterday. We did about an hour and a half, so we covered it from beginning. Here's what we know, though. This is all I'm going to give you on this. We'll just go through the what we know, because it was. I said yes. It seems like what we, as a collective chat room and streaming host, came down to was that it seems like beef, right? It seems like beef between a group of youths. And a lot of innocent people in a very close-quartered area. Everybody was herded together. Woo, the Chiefs won, so a lot of innocent people got hurt. Why is it important to note that? Because that's not the other thing. The other thing is, I hate Biden, or I hate Trump, whatever. It's that. That's it. I hate America. It's that. It's not that. It's not that. And that's good. That's good, because that shit is so, ugh. This was good old-fashioned, I believe, American crime. So here's what we know right now, okay? This comes from KMBC News, updated as recently as 1 hour ago. At least 22 people were injured by gunfire, including 9 children. Of course, children, because you take your kids. Dad takes the kid to the Super Bowl parade because dad fully understands that this might be the only Super Bowl parade this kid ever goes to. Kansas City police. Hold on, I got to clear my throat. I don't know what's going on. I can try and clear it that way, or I can just do this. Okay, there we are. That was nice. A little hot coffee. Kansas City police say Stacey Graves said Thursday that the shooting that left 22 people with gunshot wounds and a woman dead started as a dispute between several people at the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl victory parade. So it's a fight between 2 people who shouldn't. Kansas City leaders and police continue working Thursday to sort through evidence in Wednesday's Kansas City Chiefs parade and rally shooting at Union Station. Graves confirmed that the 22 shooting victims ranged between the ages of 8 and 47. At least half of the victims are under the age of 16. So, when we hear that, in the context of these stories, under the age of 16. Now, this is just me looking at this and going, okay, what are the real truths here? What do we know and what do I understand about this story so that I can put that jarring fact into its proper context? At least half of all the victims are under the age of 16. Okay, so because that is, like I said, that's jarring. Because what are we thinking? 5-year-olds. We're thinking 4-year-olds. We're thinking, and God, look, anybody getting shot is terrible, but that's what we're thinking from the way that that's written. I'm not certain that's the case. I'm not certain. I'm hoping it's not, because man, there's nothing, But judging from what I've seen, this looks to be young people involved in this shooting. This is not a middle-aged, crazy gun enthusiast that showed up and decided he wanted to show everybody what's what. This is for Taylor and Travis. No, it's not that. The three people that they have in custody and who are being questioned. Now, by the way, the handling of the suspects that they have is way different than when it's one of these guys, I'm killing everybody. Way different. They're not being charged. They're not roughed up. They're in jail. They got 3 suspects connected to the shooting. So here's what I think. I think it was a whole bunch of young people. I think, and if I could be so bold as to speak like a free American, I think they were probably bangers. I think this was probably a bunch of gangbangers who came out to party, got sideways with each other, or 2 people. Guns were drawn, and all of a sudden, a bunch of bangers are shooting at each other in the middle of a crowd of people. So when they say that the victims, there's all these kid victims, we immediately think, oh, the innocence, right? Oh, a baby in a stroller. We think innocence. We go to that dark place. But the reality, I think a lot of the people who were shot might have been also bangers. I think they might have been also people who were, stirring it up. And so, although that is a frightening thing to read, at least half of the victims are under the age of 16. My next question is, but are they innocent? Like, are they under 16 and innocent to this entire thing unfolding? Or is there something more? And the police not saying anything about this tells me that they know what's going on here. They know what this is about. This is probably just gang beef. Graves confirmed that the 22 shooting victims ranged in age between 8 and 47 years old, and that half were under the age of 16. Graves said 3 people were taken into custody after the incident that left the city reeling following what was supposed to be a day of celebration. 2 of those suspects taken into custody are juveniles. We'll just replace juveniles with under the age of 16, just to keep it consistent with the other one, right? Because the other one made us think of a bunch of dead kids on it. Now we're hearing about the 2 that were arrested, and now suddenly they're being described as juveniles. That sounds a bit more officious and a bit more serious. But that's also just another way of saying under the age of 16. So I don't know that we need to be as, dead little innocent kids and, like the Boston Marathon bombing or God, Uvalde, or all of these things. I think this was a gang fight. And I think that there are probably innocents that were struck because they were at the middle of 1 million people came together to cheer on the Chiefs for winning the Super Bowl. Kansas City, Missouri Mayor Quinton. By the way, that's another thing that we get this wrong. Kansas City is in Missouri, right? That's Kansas. It's the same city, but it's on 2 borders. No, it's not. It's not the same city. It's 2 different cities that are in close proximity to each other. There's Kansas City, Kansas, and there's Kansas City, Missouri. The one that has all of the sports teams in the downtown and the shooting is Kansas City, Missouri. That's the big city. There is a Kansas City, Kansas, and it's across the Kansas River. And it's like it's nothing. It's nothing. So I'll say this from Missouri had 2 football teams. At one point they did. Missouri had 2 football teams for a period of time. Look at that. They had the St. Louis Cardinals, St. Louis Rams, and Kansas City Chiefs. Anyway, Kansas City, Missouri Mayor Quinton Lucas said Thursday morning that the investigation continues. They're not the same city. That's the other. People are like, no, but they are. They're the same city. If you live there, yes, you see it as the same city. But technically, they're in 2 different states. They have 2 different mayors. They have 2 different police departments. They have 2 different everything. 2 different states overseeing their budgets and all of that. So they're 2 different cities. Let's see here. Mayor Quinton Lucas said Thursday the investigation continues into the shooting, and the individuals who were taken into custody are being questioned by law enforcement. In Missouri, authorities have 24 hours to prosecute individuals suspected of a crime before they must be released from custody. Graves said in a Thursday morning news conference that the department is working to present the most complete case possible. Photos and video from the scene showed bystanders jumping in to tackle at least one of the suspects while police led another man away in handcuffs. Meanwhile, others jumped into action to try and help. Kansas City radio station KKFI confirmed Wednesday night that one of its DJs, Elizabeth Lisa Lopez, host of Taste of Tejano, died in the shooting. So that's the woman who died. The woman who died is local DJ there. We do have some video. We'll watch the video. We'll watch. I want to talk about this video a little bit. Let it play out. Yeah, here it is. Okay, sorry, I couldn't find the video. Now we got it. That's it. Nice. All right. Boop, 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 boop. So we're gonna break this down. We're gonna show it a couple of different ways. I hope it's big enough. But this is the scene following the shooting. Now, where you're going to be looking here is over in this area. See this area? See, you got the street here, and then there's a cement wall. But then over the wall, there's like this little hallway that's been created. You're going to see a whole bunch of people running here, okay? And one of the persons is a suspect. And a whole bunch of people who were there decided to chase this armed suspect down and beat the holy hell out of him. And I applaud that. Okay. So I'm trying to see who's who. Is this guy right here? See where my cursor is? Is this guy in the black hoodie? Is that the guy? I don't know what's what. Okay, it's this guy right here. All right, the pointer's on him right here. This is the guy right here. So let's back it up a little. He's in a brown jacket. Right? So there he is right here. All right. Okay. He's up. He's rolling around. He gets all the time. Look him down. So when I saw that last night, the first thing that I thought to myself was, man, look at that. There you go. These boys, they know. These guys, they've answered that question. Because we all have that question in our most private, darkest moments. We ask the quiet questions of ourselves. And one of those quiet questions that I think we ask is, if something like this happened, how would we react? What would our instinctive reaction be? Fight or flight? Do we run? Or do we try to help humanity? Do we try and do the right thing to the best of our abilities? I think that if I was advising my 14-year-old son, the advice would be, run, get the hell out of there, get as far away. But you know, the inner hero that we all possess, the inner hero has us walking around this world telling people, better not try that shit around me. You know, we're all the hero. But we've never been tested. Most of us have never been tested. These dudes were tested. These guys had that question answered for them. These guys no longer have to lay in bed going, geez, I wonder how I would react if something like this happened. These dudes chased down a gunman who had just shot a bunch of people with a gun in his hand. They chased him down. This dude could have just at any point turned and started firing. They chased him down. They tackled him. Not enough. Not enough. When I was watching that, I've watched it a dozen times now. Not enough. There were a lot of people going, I want nothing to do with this. Tackle that son of a bitch, man. You got a dude with a gun running and a bunch of people chasing after him, and one dude's got him by the collar and they're trying to drag him down. Tackle him. I mean, if you're that sort of person. I fool myself, as maybe a lot of us do. I fool myself into just walking around believing that that's how I would react. That I used to walk across the Michigan Avenue Bridge every day. And this is in downtown Chicago. And one of the days that I was walking across the bridge, somebody had jumped in. I don't know if they jumped in. I don't know if they'd fallen in, but they were struggling. And a couple of dudes had jumped in the icy river of the, and I remember standing there on the bridge watching this unfold. By the time I happened upon it, The police were already there, and the ambulance was on its way, but it had just happened. And I remembered that moment. I sat there thinking, if I saw this happen, would I, in my little work clothes with, whatever, would I have jumped 15 feet off of this bridge into icy waters of the Chicago River to save someone? And I convinced myself in that moment that the answer was yes, but I have no idea if that's true. I've never been tested. Thankfully, I don't want to be tested. I would love to die completely oblivious to that question. But make no mistake, those dudes in Kansas City, they answered the question. I still don't know. I know what I'd like to believe, but we all want to believe the best of ourselves. I don't know. Also, what do we do for these dudes, right? That video went viral. And I saw there was this a big campaign. The Kansas City Chiefs better give them season tickets forever. Kansas City Chiefs ought to let them start a game if they want. That's what they've already won 2 Super Bowls. Come on. They could let them start the open. Let those dudes suit up. Let those dudes make the team, play one special team snap in the opening game. I'm sure if they want it. If they they offered that to me, I'd be like, hell no. I ain't going to take a hit by a 24-year-old super athlete. But maybe they want that. Maybe they'd like to be on kick return or something just for once. A lot of people are saying they should get season tickets forever. Well, yeah, goes without saying. They should be considered Chiefs heroes and certainly taken care of to some degree. And I'm not talking about a signed Patrick Mahomes jersey. I'm talking about they ought to be freaking having dinner with Patrick Mahomes. That kind of stuff ought to come their way. Because that dude was running through a crowd of people with a gun after having just shot a bunch of people. Nobody knew what was going on. Now we have the benefit of kind of understanding that it was beef and that he wasn't just a crazy killer. But in that moment, they didn't know that. In that moment, all they know is that they just heard people screaming, people running, and then this dude with a gun running away from that. That's all they knew. And those dudes did it. So good for them. All right, that's the update from down there in Kansas City. We still don't have. We're not looking for a motive here. It's not like, well, what's the motive? We're waiting to find out the motive of the shooter. I think the motive was, someone bumped into the other guy and they didn't properly show respect or whatever. I think that's probably the motive. Something like that. Severe national threat is also trending. Have you been hearing about this? Severe national threat. This is a funny story. Hi, Frank. We got Frank in the chat room. Frank's another fairly new guy. He's been in from time to time, but I like to see Frank showing up regularly. Appreciate that. Severe national threat. Do you guys know about this? Did you guys follow this yesterday? This happened. So there's a couple of these stories, the Kansas City shooting and this one, severe national threat. They both broke. I think severe national threat broke during the stream yesterday. So I missed it because when I'm actually doing the stream, I'm missing the stuff that's happening. I suppose I could put the TV on, but it's not on right now. It's a smart TV, so it'll take like 45 seconds, and then I got to find the remote. And But this story broke yesterday during the show, and I missed it. But I wanted to talk about it because I became instantly obsessed with it for about 2 hours. About 2 hours, I was like, what the hell is this? And then I got caught up. And then I got distracted by the KC thing. But then I went back to this, and I started looking at this. I don't know what's going on here. So yesterday, the GOP chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, I'll read you the story. I don't want to misinterpret it, but we'll go into this a little bit. U.S. intelligence shows that Russia is discussing the possibility of basing a nuclear weapon in space, according to people familiar with the matter, a finding that emerged after a top House Republican publicly warned of an unspecified national security threat. The threat cited by U.S. intelligence is not yet an active one, and Russia has not deployed a nuclear weapon into space, according to the people who spoke on condition of anonymity. While the conclusions are significant and U.S. officials are taking the matter seriously, there's no immediate cause for public alarm. Okay, couple things. First of all, we're just going to get this out of the way. If there was cause for public alarm, they would say there is no cause for public alarm. So we know this, right? We understand this. So we're not relying on you people to let us know if we should be alarmed anymore because you have proven yourself duplicitous at every turn. So screw that noise. So basically, here's what happened. So this GOP guy in charge, and he's got stripes, man. He's the chairman of the GOP Intelligence Committee. This is supposed to be a serious person. So this guy comes out and he goes, he does that. He's like, Biden's not protecting us. He does that shit. So with no information. So then the entire world goes, why is this fucking Daisy freaking out like this? They must know something. And then the internet takes over. There's nukes in New Orleans. A nuke came into the port of New Orleans and it's a rogue. And then there was, no, it's Miami. And there were these things going on about something that was going to happen imminently because this fucking Daisy of a politician decided to grandstand in front of a camera and do something that is just not done, especially for someone in the position of chairman of this intelligence committee. But this, we got people in these jobs now who don't know what they're doing, and they're just politicians looking for time on Hannity. It used to be we didn't know the name of the chairman of the intelligence committee because that motherfucker was a serious person. He didn't want his name known. I mean, you knew him because if you lived in this district, you voted for him. But he wasn't like, Matt Gaetz or Ocasio-Cortez or one of these people who are moths to cameras. We shouldn't know who any of these people are. There's like hundreds and hundreds of congressmen. We shouldn't know who any of them are except for the ones who represent us. And unfortunately, we live in an area where we don't even know who represents us. 9 out of 10 people, I gather, if I went on the street right now and I asked people, who's your congressman? Quick. They wouldn't know. But if I said, name a congressman, they'd name one from 20 states away. So this guy fucked up. This guy, we don't know why he did. I mean, we know why he did it because he's a bad, duplicitous politician who was trying to gin people up for probably purely specific reasons to him. I don't know. So anyway, so this causes the White House to respond. Because people start freaking about this. Again, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee said that there was a severe national threat going on right now, and the White House needs to do something. Okay, so this forces the White House, right, to come out. And so they send their spokesperson out, and he gets asked the question right away, what is this severe national threat? And then he has to acknowledge that there is something going on. Right? Because there is something going on. There is a national threat. Just may not be as imminent or happening instant. And by the way, this was all screwed up and hypercharged by the shooting in Kansas City. Because this story was breaking as we started to get reports of a shooting in Kansas City. So, of course, everybody was like, it's an invasion. Totally unrelated, gangbangers beef, and that's what that was. But, with the echo chamber that is social media, those two stories combined into America's under attack, and it's only the GOP chairman of intelligence who's telling us the truth, which all turned out to be fucking bullshit. You got the spokesperson there at the White House. He's out there. He's like, yeah. They asked him the question. They said, is it? And he's not going to lie. He said, yeah, there is. And we're going to have a meeting tomorrow with the Gang of Eight. Now, the Gang of Eight is a whole thing. It's a group of people, 4 from the House, 4 from the Senate. When something really important is going on and they can't let everybody know, what they do is they convene the Gang of Eight. The Gang of Eight comes together. I like to think that they meet in like a basement of the White House. And then they are briefed on the most sensitive stuff. Why? So that no one can ever say that the president did this and didn't tell Congress or the Senate. That's what the Gang of Eight is. And it's never disclosed when the Gang of Eight is convened. That's not something that is, but White House was forced to do it yesterday. They're forced to go, yeah, we're getting the Gang of Eight together. Then the details started coming out about this thing. So the severe national threat concerning Russia and nukes, which caused everybody for about an hour yesterday to freak out online, turned out to just be that same old nukes in space story. This is not a new story. This is not an imminent threat. This is not happening now. This is something we've been talking about since Ronald Reagan and Star Wars. Stop it. Now, why am I so cheesed up over this? I'll tell you, because I got sucked in. Because your boy spent about 45 minutes going, okay, where's the bomb? Where's the nuke? Do I need to pack up? Did they send a nuke to Dallas? What? Because this idiot who is supposed to be the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee decides that he wants to be on Hannity. So there is no big threat, okay? The threat cited by U.S. intelligence is not yet active. It's not even a thing. The U.S. National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, this is the guy who was forced to come out at the White House and make a statement on this. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said he would meet Thursday with the U.S. House contingent of the so-called Gang of Eight congressional leaders. The meeting was scheduled before House Intelligence Committee chair. The meeting was scheduled before. So it was scheduled. It was on the books to brief the Gang of Eight about this situation before the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee went on and said, why aren't they telling us anything? Check your schedule, dickhead. It's on your schedule. It's tomorrow. But that doesn't help you now, right? Because you want to be on Hannity tonight. So you're just going to say this. It's not true. You're just going to say it. And then you're going to start all this. And suddenly maybe you're going to trend. And people will know your name. The Ohio Republicans, this is what we're talking about. What's his name? Mike Turner. The meeting was scheduled before House Intelligence Committee Chairman Mike Turner on Wednesday issued a cryptic public statement. The Ohio Republican called on President Joe Biden to declassify all information relating to this threat. Turner did not offer further details about the nature of the threat. Of course he didn't. Of course he didn't. Because if he had offered the details, the entire world would have gone, oh, Star Wars? We've known about this and we're concerned about this for, I don't know, 40 years now. Turner's decision to go public with the issue without fully describing it caused concern. The episode came at a time when wars in Ukraine and Gaza are weighing heavily on the U.S. Jake Sullivan, declined to specify the subject of Thursday's meeting or respond to Turner's characterization of the national security matter. Sullivan said, I'm not in a position to say anything further today. And of course not. This is how intelligence works. Intelligence. Dude, look, we should know everything. No, we shouldn't. No, we shouldn't. That's why we elect people to do these things. Now, we elect bad people. That's a problem that we need to fix. But the whole system is set up so that we don't need to know this stuff. You know, we need to know what time to pick up the kids from practice. We need to know. We're distracted by other things in our life. That's why we have a representative democracy, so people can represent us in the fulfillment of the promise of democracy. That's what this is all about. So no, we don't need to know. We should know everything. No, you can't even understand everything. Anyway, what a big stupid hubbub that scared a lot of people because, I don't know, politicians suck. Moving on. Trump trial. Oh, God, really? We got to do this? All right. We got a trial, Fannie Willis. Something going on in Georgia. We don't pay attention to that stuff. I don't care. Whatever. It'll work its way out. You know why? I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge. They're going to figure it out. Let me know when it's done. Also, Trump trial. I guess there's been a date set in New York. New York set a date for the first Trump criminal trial. March 15th. Trial of the century. You know what would be fun? Somebody, because they're going to do all day long panels. Like when the Trump trial is on, everybody's going to do it. They're going to have panels of 15 people. One of them panels better include OJ. That's right. Come on. You got to put OJ on one of these. He can talk about trials of the century and being on trial and what this is like. OJ, come on. Have the balls. MSNBC won't. Fox might. Fox might. CNN should have OJ as their lead correspondent. He did his time for the thing that he did in Vegas, and he was acquitted for the thing that he absolutely did in Los Angeles. So, that's our system. Let's have OJ cover the Trump trial as just one of the experts, unlike, big high-profile trials. What else do we have here? Retail sales. I don't know. Retail sales are down or something. That's a story today. I tell you, like I say, you should never pay attention to these monthly releases of these numbers that are supposed to make. We don't know what we're looking at. I don't know what that means. Retail sales are, well, first of all, I'll tell you why retail sales are down for the month of January. You want to know why? Because it ain't Christmas. Because December's retail sales were through the roof because of Christmas. So let's not get rattled by the fact that retail sales fell in January. CNN salaries. Yeah, this is funny. Yeah, pay OJ. I still say CNN should bring on still. I said it like for the first time 30 seconds ago. I still say OJ should be on CNN doing the Trump trial stuff. CNN is going to cut some salaries. I love this. I love this because I saw it happen in radio. Man, you guys, if I had been 10 years older, I'd be a millionaire now. I would absolutely be a millionaire now if I was 10 years older. I'm like a multi-millionaire. If I had done all the years in radio starting 10 years before I actually started, holy shit, man, I'd have had one of those big ass contracts by the time I was 30. One of those crazy 1997 shock jock contracts. Holy shit, man. I'd be set for life. I'd have had my bag by 2003, but unfortunately, I was at the apex of my success when Justin Timberlake pulled at Janet Jackson's titty, and all of a sudden my entire format was down the toilet. Nobody was paying anything for provocative talk radio because Janet Jackson's titty flew out on a Super Bowl. Yeah. Oh, let's have beers. I can tell you the whole story. Anyway, so radio people have seen their salaries go from. Well, I tell the story about my friend who was making $2 million a year. He's the number one listened to guy in afternoon drive. He was making $2 million a year for like 15 years. And, one day in 2015 or 16, his contract, actually, no, I think it was 2018. His contract came up and they started to renegotiate, and he sat down and he went, well, you got to be happy. I've actually increased my number one ratings and I'm still the dominant guy here. So you want to do the 2 million again, or how about a little bit of a raise? And they said, nah, we know you're great. We know you're number one. We know you're dominating, but we can only offer you $500,000 from 2 million. He's making $2 million. And they said, you can't make $2 million anymore. That's not what radio is about. We can give you $500,000. And he said, I'm so offended. And he walked away. Believing as I did. I encouraged. At the time, I remember thinking, you can't. You got to walk away. They can't do that. There are plenty of other places where you can go. And guess what? He started taking meetings with other radio stations in town. And guess what he found? They were offering him $200,000. They're like, sorry, we just can't pay. Radio guys don't make money anymore. So that happened to this industry. So the radio industry got completely gutted. And I've been watching cable news for the last 10 years going, when are they going to gut these sons of bitches? Why is Anderson Cooper making Patrick Mahomes money? Why? What the audiences have gone down for CNN and cable news in the same way that it's gone down for radio. People are listening on different platforms in different ways. So the measurement that we were all paid by in the past is no longer applicable. So why is it that Don Lemon just got $2 million raise? Why is it that Don Lemon is in a position where they can give him a $2 million raise? What's his base salary? So the hatchet is coming to CNN, and we should all celebrate. Oh, let's not shed a tear for Anderson Vanderbilt. Anderson, when they cut his, this is crazy. So here's the story. CNN salaries. CNN boss Mark Thompson is looking to fund his digital first transformation by cutting anchor salaries currently at more than $50 million a year. So when you look at CNN, that awful example of feckless journalism, when you look at CNN, $50 million in salary on that station, among the anchors. Jesus. Let's see. What does it say here? He seeks to remake the ailing cable network into a U.S. version of the BBC. Oh, good luck. The BBC is awesome. Media observers and former CNN executives have told The Wrap. Thompson, the former head of the BBC and the New York Times, has said that he wants to unleash a revolution at the 43-year-old news network and will not spare the network's formidable talent roster. Top CNN earners include primetime anchor Anderson Cooper, who makes an estimated $20 million a year. He's making QB1 money. He's making wide receiver. He's making first round draft pick, first contract. He's making good money. That's good money. And AC Cooper, Anderson Vanderbilt Cooper. I like to do that because, like, I always thought it was funny when people who, you know, they were Barack Hussein Obama. Like, they always want to do that. Like, it's like, first of all, you're really telling on yourself. You're letting the world know a whole lot about who you are. And maybe you're not intending that, but okay. And it's funny. I get it. I get why you're doing it. But I do that with Anderson Cooper. Anderson Vanderbilt. I don't want anyone to forget that Anderson Cooper and basically all of these people that we watch and we get our news from, these are all people who were placed there and not placed there. It's not like there's some overlord in a hood in some cavernous meeting room with torches going, let's place the Vanderbilt child in charge of all information. And it's not like that. But he certainly didn't have to work his way up the way the rest of us do because, you know, his family had connections. You know, when you're the intern, when you're 19 and you're an intern and your dad is best golfing buddies with the chairman of the company, you know what I mean? It's that kind of bullshit that he's always enjoyed. So screw Anderson Cooper, $20 million a year. Anderson Cooper makes $20 million a year. Who else? Wolf Blitzer. Good Lord. You want to talk about dumb money. Wolf Blitzer makes $15 million a year. He's not even prime time. He's on at like 4:00 in the afternoon. You can't pay somebody on cable news who's on at 4:00 in the afternoon $15 million a year. Why? Because the world would collapse if Wolf Blitzer was suddenly not on CNN? He's got to go. He's got to go. $15 million. I come into CNN and I'm looking at these salaries. I'm like, okay, Wolf is gone. That's easy. Oh, what we're going to cry for? Well, oh, poor Wolf with his little cardboard box filled with the stuff from his office after like 40 years of being. Screw Wolf Blitzer. Dude made $15 million a year. He's 80 years old. Wolf Blitzer can get the out of here. Anderson Cooper, though, I don't want him out of there. I don't hate Anderson Cooper. I don't. Actually, he seems like a fairly nice guy. I resent him. I resent Anderson Cooper. I don't hate him, though. I want Anderson Cooper humble. Like, I want Anderson Cooper to have to work now for like 150 grand. That's what I want. Anderson Cooper can stay if you want the platform and the ego and, you know, AC360. If you want all that, you know, $150 a year, you can do that. You work an hour a day, stupid. I don't work just an hour a day. No, you work an hour a day. Your team of 50 producers, they work nonstop. You, Anderson Cooper, you don't work more than 1 hour a day. You show up, maybe you show up 45 minutes early, get your makeup in. Ugh. Wolf Blitzer's making $15 million. Jake Tapper at CNN, he pulls in $8.5 million. That is way too much for that dude. Jake Tapper. Ugh. $8.5 million for Jake Tapper. So I would say, like, if I ever met Jake Tapper, I'd go, wow, you know, it's crazy. I learned how much more Anderson Cooper makes than you. Like, I'd remind him of that because I think Jake Tapper seems like the kind of guy that really bothers him. Jake Tapper, I'm going to pay you 100 grand. Jake Tapper, if you want to stay, you are going to go from $8.5 million to 100 grand because I honestly don't see how that job deserves more than that. Chris Wallace, who was brought over from Fox, he makes $8 million a year for doing nothing. Doesn't he do like a podcast for CNN, Chris Wallace? What the hell is Chris Wallace doing for $8 million a year? Yes, there are plenty of places that we can cut some salary at CNN. All right, now let's go to the scrubs at CNN, the people at CNN who aren't making anything. Still more than we'll ever make in our lifetime, but let's see here. Chris Wallace makes $8 million. Other anchors, including John Berman, Kate Baldwin. I love Kate Baldwin. I love her. I think Kate Baldwin is awesome. I would take the news from Kate Baldwin all the time. Kate Baldwin, Sarah Seidner, and John Berman, they all make in the $1 to $2 million range. So, you know, they're free agent, undrafted. They've been in the league a couple of years. They're going to get a look-see. $1 to $2 million a year. I bet you Kate Baldwin's very happy with that. She's a farm girl from Indiana. She lives on a farm. She just has like a farm, and although she's married to a Wall Street hedge fund guy, so I'm sure it's a crazy, but I like her. Anyway, that's the CNN story. CNN's going to cut all their salaries. I hope they're all gone. I hope they're all gone. And if they're not gone, if they're still here in like a year, you're like, ha ha, you guys took humiliating pay cuts. Here's a video. This was in Arlington, a local story here in Texas. I saw this the other. Well, I gotta get rid of that. So there's this. There's a coyote, and people were describing it as a big coyote. Apparently, in Arlington, which is not news because there's probably thousands of coyotes in Arlington. Oh, there's thousands of coyotes in Highland Park. There are coyotes all over here. We see coyotes all the time. This isn't rare. Coyotes are everywhere in America. They're just stray dogs. They're just dogs without a human. But there was an Arlington coyote that was biting people at a park. It was attacking people at a park, and it was being described as being very large. They caught it. Arlington, or I don't know if this was Tarrant County. I don't know what this is. Is Arlington Tarrant County? Is Arlington Tarrant County? It is, right? It is. Yeah, it is. I don't know. The chat room will tell me. Here you go. Here's the video. This is the coyote, the killer coyote there in the Arlington Park was captured yesterday. And this is no sound. There it is. So they described it as a large coyote. Hi, I told you yesterday about how I lived on a wetland, a nature preserve wetland, and we had crap tons of coyotes. We had coyotes that come into our backyard. We had coyotes everywhere. You go stand on the back porch, you can watch the coyotes. So I'm familiar with coyotes. They described this as a large coyote. This is a large coyote. This is a coyote that is very healthy, very large, very thick. This coyote looks more like a German Shepherd, and a German Shepherd is much bigger than a coyote. The average coyote. The average coyote is a scavenger, man. It's skinny. It's got tall. The legs are longer than its body. The body is thin and skinny, and the legs are long. But look at this coyote. This one here. This looks like a German Shepherd. This looks like somebody's well-fed, house-trained German Shepherd got loose. Right, look at that thing. That's a good sized coyote. Look how thick he is. I'm gonna pick him up and plop him in the back. All right, there you have it. So the Arlington coyote has been captured. Good news for us all. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, everybody. Yes, Arlington is Tarrant County. I appreciate that. Let's see. What else do we have? Oh, more video. Okay, let's watch more video. I saw this. I don't even know if this is a news story, you guys, but I saw this video and it went viral yesterday. And I don't know, is it new? So I want to watch this video. This is a crazy ass video. Concerns a cop in Florida. This is body cam video of a cop opening fire on his own police cruiser because he thought the person that he had just handcuffed and put in the cruiser was somehow shooting a gun at him. So cop shows up and arrests a dude on I don't know if it was a warrant, but it was a charge of also domestic violence. And the woman that called the police and said he needs to be arrested, part of the charge was he's got a gun, he's threatening me with it, and the gun has a silencer. Okay, so that's what the cop knew when they arrested this guy. He arrests the guy, no problems, cuffs him, puts him in the back of the car. The cop is walking back to the suspect's car for whatever reason. And right then and there, the cop freaks out and just starts firing into his own car. Gunk, 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 screaming, shots fired, shots fired. It was an acorn. An acorn fell from a tree, hit the roof of his police car, making that acorn on a tin car roof sound. The cop misinterpreted this as the silencer that he had been warned about that this guy had, even though this cop also knew that this guy was handcuffed and in the back of his car and didn't have a gun. But this is the video. This police officer has, he's been fired. I mean, for obvious reasons, he's been fired. But why isn't this guy being charged? What this is such a, let's just watch. Here it is. he's hit by an acorn.
What? I'm in the car! I was shot through the car! Oh!
Now remember, the suspect is handcuffed in the back of that car that he just opened fire on. But he believes...
I'm good. I feel weird, but I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
This guy just freaked out.
I don't know.
All right. So let me point something out to you about this guy right now. Again, it was an acorn that fell from a tree and landed on the roof of the car as he was walking by it, making that plunk sound. You can hear it. We'll go back and we'll listen to it. You can hear it. It's very faint, but you can hear it. And you know, he hears the blink of the acorn hitting the roof of the car where he's got a guy in handcuffs who doesn't have a gun, but he hears the blink and he immediately assumes, I don't know how he jumped right to it, but he assumed that the guy had a gun and he was shooting at him and that was the sound of a silencer. So his first action was to just unload his gun into that car. Gung, 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 gung. Also claiming to be hit. He's like, I'm hit. And then for the next 5 minutes of this video or whatever, rolling around on the ground, groaning and moaning like he is hit. Now this ends with another cop walking up to him going, you okay? And the guy's like, I don't know. Am I hit? And the guy's like, no, you're not hit. It's an acorn. Let's watch more.
Oh. I might have hit my vest.
Hold up, no, he's working it out. Maybe it hit his vest. By the way, I want to point out the noises that you hear in the background, the screaming and the crying, that is the family of the the dude who is in handcuffs. I think he's 21 years old. The dude who's in handcuffs in the back of the squad car that has just been opened fire on. So that's his family that we are hearing in the background who just watched this cop open fire on the car where their kid is. Because of an acorn. Oh, here comes backup.
Stay inside your house. Stay inside your house.
His family thinks their kid is dead. He's not. He's fine. No one was injured. Oh, that should be said. No one was injured.
It might have hit my vest. I don't know. But
he's not hit. He's now realizing he's not hit.
I'm not. I don't know. It felt like it.
It felt like it?
I got you. Come on to me.
All right. So the cop's like, are you hit? He's like, I don't know. It felt like it. What do you mean it felt like it? All right, let's watch this again from the beginning. You'll see. I'll try and stop it, and we'll listen over and over again to what is the blink, the acorn. Here's the tree. See the tree right here? It's an acorn tree. Here's the cruiser. He's walking past the cruiser. Acorn, blink, drops right on it. He thinks it's a silencer. There it is. Hear it? Listen. Hear it? There it is.
Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired!
Okay, nobody injured, and that's a good one. We have no dead people. That cop is no longer a cop. Don't talk to me about training. Don't talk to me about it. Some people just shouldn't be cops, and that is a dude who should not be a cop. Wow. All right. What else do we have here? Oh, there's some big news concerning Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz apparently sent some text messages to a woman. Oh, God. So Matt Gaetz, you know the underage child sex trafficking and all that stuff that people say about Matt Gaetz? I don't know anything about that stuff. I just know they're like, oh, there's an investigation and. Anyway, this has something to do with that. So apparently, this has to do with a different sex scandal. This one involves prostitutes. That's right. I'm sorry. Matt Gaetz has a couple of weird things going on. So this is his buddy used to get this prostitute all the time. She's like, I guess, a hot, expensive call girl. And that was revealed that she was a prostitute, and the buddy went to jail. And there's a whole thing. It was a fraud case from a couple of years ago anyway, but Matt Gaetz sort of escaped being a part of that. Yesterday, it was released a bunch of old text messages between Matt Gaetz and the prostitute, where he's like inviting her to come down to Key West and party. He's like, it's going to be 4 girls and me and another guy, and we're going to be adventure. It was just very creepy, very weird. Anyway, whatever. Look, hey, people's sexual peccadillos are not my interest. I don't give a shit. I already think Matt Gaetz is a piece of garbage just because look at him. If you can't look at that guy and go, that's a piece of garbage, there's something wrong with you. His sexual peccadillos, I don't give a shit. I don't care what people are into sexually. Just stop it. You can be sexually one way and then, be completely competent in every other walk of, just. So I don't care about that. But you know what bothers me about Matt Gaetz? Here's something that I don't think gets talked about enough. Why don't I like Matt Gaetz? Because he's a prick. Because he's a little prep school, politically connected, rich boy, silver spoon prick. His daddy, very powerful man, longtime Florida politician, big money in his family, came from a family that basically settled North Dakota. Like his great-grandfather was like the first governor of North Dakota, something crazy like that. So Matt Gaetz comes from this private school, prep, country club kind of life. Now, he also comes from the Florida Panhandle. It's up there in the Panhandle. So we know the people that are around, his neighbors and all that, they're not exactly from that background. Not a lot of people living in trailer parks in the Florida Panhandle had a grandfather who basically created North Dakota or whatever. So that's who Matt Gaetz is. Just so we know, Matt Gaetz has always been this guy. One of the interesting things, I once heard somebody describe Matt Gaetz and how he was matriculated through the political world to the position that he now holds. They compared it to, do you guys remember who Marv Marinovich is? Marv Marinovich? Todd Marinovich was his son. Todd Marinovich was a can't-miss #1 overall pick out of USC quarterback. He was can't miss. He was destined to be the greatest quarterback who ever lived. That's who Todd Marinovich was. Marv was his dad. Marv, as it turns out, from the moment Todd Marinovich was born, Marv said, this is going to be an NFL quarterback. In the kid's entire life, never had a moment's peace. His entire life, from 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, lifting weights, throw patterns, whatever. Basically destroyed poor Todd Marinovich's life. And the minute Todd Marinovich got free of his dad and had the big NFL contract and was the #1 draft pick, Todd Marinovich turned out to be a heroin addict or a pillhead or whatever because his dad screwed him up so bad. So that's Todd and Marv Marinovich. That's the story of, I think it's Gary and Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz's father raised Matt Gaetz to be this from the moment he was born. And here's another fun fact that always pisses me off about Matt Gaetz that never gets mentioned. He's a terrible, terrible person. any number of reasons. But look, he's a silver spoon little rich prick. He's the bad guy in the John Hughes movies. That's who he is, okay? He's the James Spader character, and you guys can all carry his water if you want, but I can see through him. I know exactly what this freak show is all about. So here's the thing that's always bothered me most about Matt Gaetz. And again, I don't give a shit about his text messages. You want to go find some political dissection of that old story? I'm sure there's other places you can find it. I want to talk about other things. Like the fact that this son of a bitch grew up. Hold on, I'll show you. Do you know where he grew up? Do you know what his childhood home is? First of all, the fact that Matt Gaetz' childhood home is an iconic, famous home, that's a problem in and of itself. But it's one of the greatest houses in film history, in movie history. The house that Matt Gaetz grew up in. Remember the Truman Show? Remember the Truman Show with Jim Carrey, where they'd create, well, that was Seaside, Florida. This beautiful, idyllic, gorgeous little community. Jim Carrey, his entire life was on camera, unbeknownst to him. The Truman Show. Truman's house is where Matt Gaetz grew up. That was Matt Gaetz' house. They had to get out of the house when they filmed that. Look at that freaking house. I could never root for somebody who grew up in a house like that. Let me see what else. Oh, I didn't go to Bing. Oh, here, look at this one. I don't know if you can see this one. There's a little sign there. It says the Truman House, Don and Vicky Gaetz. And then Matthew and Aaron are written underneath it. So when you're a tourist, if you love the Truman Show or Jim Carrey and you go to Seaside and you want to see the Truman House, you got to go to Matt Gaetz' childhood home, ladies and gentlemen. Talk about ruining a wonderful movie. That movie is wonderful. But now that I know that those Marvel villains reside in that house, oh my God. They want to have some fun at the expense of Rachel Dolezal. Dolezal. Remember her? Does that name sound familiar to you? Some of you are like, yeah. Some of you really made her a huge part of your life for a couple of years. Rachel Dolezal. She was the white woman who claimed she was black. Rachel Dolezal was a white woman. German Swedish to be exact. Rachel Dolezal was a white woman who in her adult life began living as an African American woman, and she was quite accomplished at it, to the extent that she was a professor of African American female studies. She was the chapter president of the NAACP up there in, I don't know, Oregon somewhere. I don't know. She was a fairly significant voice in the NAACP, and she was a white woman, and that was revealed very embarrassingly for her. It was a gotcha piece. I mean, when you're a reporter up there in Spokane or something, I think that maybe where it was. You're a reporter and you find out that, like, the leader of the NAACP at the local chapter, you find out that they're cosplaying as a white person. That's not a news story. That's like a private thing. That's like a private thing for them. But it's a gotcha story, and it'll sell papers and people will talk about it. So it's a disingenuous piece of journalism. I don't think that we should really give a shit what she wants to pretend that she is. I mean, who cares? What is the problem? Why are people so mad that it's like she's pretending to be black? And everybody was mad. She took it from both sides. She became a wonderful joke for people who, maybe don't like black people. There's that contingent out there. She was like, yeah, look at it. She became like a laughingstock among them. But also like among like Black America, like cultural appropriation and all this kind of stuff. So she took it from both sides for what now in 2024, and this was back in 2015. So now in 2024, we have a, dare I say, some people have a more enlightened view of people and how they choose to live their lives. 2015, we weren't really dealing with the whole gender identity thing and how you identify gender-wise. But why is how you identify culturally any different? Look, I think she's a weirdo. I'm not defending her. She's a weird-ass woman. That is a weird-ass woman. But when you know a little bit about her, you can kind of understand, one, she's crazy and she was turned crazy by a crazy upbringing and crazy parents. She was raised in like some super Pentecostal Christian. They like were missionaries. Like the family lived in a teepee and they moved her to like Africa to like be a missionary when she was little. Her mom and dad are white. They're white people. Her biological parents are white people, but they also adopted 3 black kids. So she was raised with 3 black siblings. So culturally, like, you know, can't you culturally identify with something that you're not ancestrally a part of? I think you absolutely can. I mean, what would be a way? What would be a way to say culture has nothing to do with ancestry? Eminem. Eminem is not culturally what was expected from a white kid in 1998. He was affected by the culture of which he was around, and he started presenting in a way. Remember, you know, that terrible way that people used to refer to white rappers, the N-word with a W put in front. I mean, that was commonly used. And that's the same thing, isn't it? I mean, isn't that the same thing that Rachel Dolezal was doing? I don't give a shit what she culturally identifies as. I know a guy, this is funny. I know a guy who's Greek. He's Greek. His parents are Greeks. His parents are from Greece. They own restaurants in Chicago. His parents are Greeks. This dude is 100% Greek. His name is like Pete Papadikataka. You know, he's like that. His name is Pete. I won't give you the last name because I don't want to out people. He's Greek. This son of a bitch has been going around his whole life pretending to be Italian. Why? Because it's more advantageous in the area of Chicago where we are. People just think you're an Italian kid. You might get things. So this dude, basically, I mean, you know, if you confront him, he's like, "What are you?" You know, what do you think? Hey, yo, what do you think I am? It's like, well, I think you're an extra from the Goodfellas reboot that they're making. What are you? No, I'm Greek. He's Greek. He's actually Greek. So, I mean, that's cultural appropriation. And it comes down to the conversation about nature versus nurture. Nature being your ancestral influence or whatever that is, your genetic makeup. And then, you know, you've got the nurture, which is your cultural influence. If you take a baby born in Plano, if you take a white German Protestant baby born in Plano right now, and you rush him to China and just give him to a family, that dude's going to be Chinese. He's not really going to be Chinese, but you know what I'm saying? He's going to be Chinese. So Rachel Dolezal, she didn't make up this thing from whole cloth, which is what I think a lot of people think she put on a Halloween costume and never stopped. But no, she's got a very long and weird history of this sort of multicultural embracing. I mean, from the time she was a child, she said that she related more with her black siblings than her white siblings. And okay, so here's more about her though. She also in 2000 she went to Howard University after graduating undergrad. She went to Howard University, historically black college, very famous college. And then she sued Howard University in 2001 for discrimination. Do you want to know what her contention was in court against Howard University? It was that Howard University wasn't treating her well because she was a white woman. Rachel Dolezal, she sued Howard University because it was a black university and she was a white one. So, you know, she's crazy, man. She was homeschooled, Pentecostal parents, apparently an abusive childhood where they used discipline very severely. She's a mess. So why is she in the news? She's in the news because, again, this is a woman who was chapter president of the NAACP and a college professor 9 years ago. She's an author. She had a book contract. I mean, she was someone of success. Well, that all went away. Because we decided to turn her into a national punchline and maybe deservedly so. I don't know. She does seem crazy. Like, I don't think she's necessarily an important voice that we need to keep hearing from, but, you know, she got it all taken away from her. And now she's in the news again today because she just lost her job. She's now a teacher. She's now a teacher in Arizona in some weird school district. It's nothing necessarily weird about it, but just some random school district in Arizona. Rachel Dolezal, who now goes by a different name. By the way, she's still very culturally African American. She's doing that, and her new name is like Ninchita Diallo. It's like a West African name. Like she's changed her name. She says she changed her name because it's impossible to get work as Rachel Dolezal, which I completely understand. But now she's like Nichita. And she's teaching school kids. And it turns out that she also has, are you ready? I buried the lead, an OnlyFans account. That's right. That's right. Ew. What is a Rachel Dolezal OnlyFans? First of all, I mean, I get it. That's my reaction, right? That's my guttural guy. We're having beers. Let's make fun of this reaction. But I get it. I completely understand why she would do an OnlyFans, because her name is Rachel Dolezal and people will give her $10 to see her boobs. And more so than just a regular good-looking girl, like some random chick, I will pay $10 to see her just because I want to say I did it. Yeah, so I spent $10 and I made Rachel Dolezal play with her boobs. It was great. Yeah, it's crazy. That's a good story. I'm going to dine out on that for a while. So she's making bank, man. She's making bank on her OnlyFans. However, now also she claims that she only does feet pictures and boudoir photos, but that's not true because there are people now coming forward to go, nah, I paid her. She masturbated for me. So she's doing OnlyFans stuff. School district finds out about it. They fire her. Oh, now she doesn't even have the school teaching job. Poor Rachel Dolezal. Well, but you know what? Look, here's the bright side. This is what I would say if I were Rachel Dolezal's friend. I would say, yeah, but what great promotion for your OnlyFans, baby. Double down on that now. You will make more money in the next week off of OnlyFans than you would have made at that school in 2 years. That's why Rachel Dolezal is trending. I mean, I'm now kind of interested in seeing what her OnlyFans is all about. And if it's just like $10, isn't it like $10 a month, $9.99 or something to subscribe to her? Just do it once. It's $10. I want to see what this is about. All right, moving on. Oh, here's the story. I'm sorry. I wanted to mention this. In 2002, Rachel Dolezal unsuccessfully sued Howard University for discrimination based on race. She says that her lawsuit alleged that she was denied scholarship funds, a teaching assistant position, and other opportunities because she was, ready for it, a white woman. That was in 2003. She also alleged that the removal of her artwork from a student exhibition at Howard in 2001 was motivated by a discriminatory purpose to favor African-American students over her. Once again, in 2002, a white woman. There's so many fun stories about her. I've been following her. I've been trying to keep up. There's so many. Like, she's got this dude that for years she presented as her father, this old, like, black dude. And she's like, this is my daddy. And, like, she would show pictures of him. And then somebody, when this story was breaking, they found that guy and they're like, so, Rachel Dolezal? And he's like, yeah. She's good. And she's like, what is your relation to her? And he's like, God, we're just friends. And she's like, she's going around telling everybody you're her dad. He's like, I'm not her dad. She had pictures on her desk of him and her together, and she told everybody it was her dad. So she's crazy. She's crazy, man. All right, Isaiah Stewart. Let's talk a little NBA basketball. Isaiah Stewart got arrested yesterday after the Pistons-Suns game. He punched, who did he punch? I don't know who he punched. Before the game, the players were walking in, before the game, hours before the game, where they're in their fancy suits and their clothes and they're walking in, and two players, Isaiah Stewart being one of them. The other guy was a Suns player. I don't know why I want to say Kevin Eubanks. It's Kevin Eubanks is from the Tonight Show. What's the Eubanks? Drew Eubanks. That's who it is. Drew Eubanks. Okay. So Isaiah Stewart is walking in, the visiting Pistons. They're walking into the arena, and he crosses paths with Drew Eubanks. And something occurred between the two of them, and they went chest to chest, and they were like bowed up, and Isaiah Stewart just went bam, cracked him right in the face, right there. He got arrested. Got arrested after the game. Detroit Pistons center Isaiah Stewart was arrested for assault Wednesday for punching Phoenix Suns center Drew Eubanks at the arena hours before the teams played. Phoenix police said Stewart was issued a citation and released. Stewart was already listed as out of the game because of a sprained left ankle. Well, that left ankle didn't stop him from starting a fight. Eubanks had 6 points and 8 rebounds in 18 minutes. Eubanks said before the game that the altercation happened as he was coming into the arena. He said an argument started, and they were chest to chest before Stewart threw the punch. Security intervened, and Eubanks said he was fine for the game. Though police did say that he sustained a minor injury. Yeah, punch in the face. All right, so there you have it. What is this? Who says this? Is this the Suns? The attack on Drew Eubanks was unprovoked, and acts of violence such as this are unacceptable, the Suns said in a statement. I'll tell you, man, this is this Piston ball. This is the brand. This is the Detroit Piston brand. I'm not surprised by this. I'm a Chicago Bull fan. I know who the Pistons are. Pistons are a bunch of talentless thugs. That's who they are. That's who they've always been. Even when they were world champions, just a bunch of talentless thugs. Bill Laimbeer. God, I hated those Pistons teams. That's back when I was producing for the Bulls. I hated those Pistons teams. All right. This is part, Malice at the Palace. That's very Pistons. That could only happen there. Pistons are a garbage franchise. I'm sorry. I just hate the Pistons. And it's sports hate. It's not real hate. Like if I moved to, and married a woman, what am I talking about? I'm like 80 years old, moving into it. I'm crazy. Anyway, I hate the Pistons, and this is very Piston-like behavior. The Fantastic Four has a new cast. The Fantastic Four. They're going to take one more run at that. Fantastic Four has been made like 5 different times now. I think there's like, let's just say, let's say it's been made 3 times previously. I don't know how many, but the Fantastic Four keeps getting remade. And every single one bombs. They're all shitty. All 3, like take the least performing Avengers movie and take all of the Fantastic Four movies that have ever been made. The least performing Avengers movie is probably 1 billion times bigger than that. I mean, I don't get why we're so attached to the Fantastic Four. Sure, we all like the Thing. The Thing is cool. Thing is the Hulk, just made out of rocks, right? Isn't that what the Thing is? Who do we got in the new Fantastic? Vanessa Kirby. She's going to be playing the chick, the girl in the Fantastic Four. Mandalorian. What's that guy's name? The Mandalorian guy. He's very hot. He's the lead guy. He's the lead Fantastic One. I don't know who that guy is. But what I'm most interested in is the casting of the Thing. The guy who they cast to play the Thing is, I don't even know the dude's name yet. But I love him. I want to see everything that he's going to do. I want to follow his career. I want him to be a big star. And I want people, he's already on his way to being a big star. He's already an award winner. Nobody's ever heard of him, and he's already winning awards. It's the first thing he's ever done. I want him to be a really big star. And I hope that he will. And I don't know his name. His name is Ibrahim Abraham. It's like Ibrahim Abraham. Dude, he's Cousin Richie from The Bear. I don't know if you guys watched The Bear on Hulu. Such a great show. By the way, that cast, I got 3 people from that cast who are going to be movie stars. Obviously, Jeremy Allen White, the Aduzia, I don't know her. I can't pronounce her name. I'm sorry. I'm not culturally as experienced or familiar with, African words and letter play and all that. So excuse me, but her name is beautiful, and it's like Aduzia Boozy. I don't know. She's going to be a big star. She's good. She hosted Saturday Night Live the other week. She was good. But then this guy, though, Cousin Richie, man. Cousin Richie is playing the Thing in the new Fantastic Four. I don't know his name. Look up his name. Ibrahim. Pedro Pascal. That's who the other guy is. I couldn't think of his name. Adam Reyna says that Rachel Dolezal has been doing OnlyFans for a while and that he's familiar with it. Wait, no, wrong one. That's I meant to hit that one. All right. She's like, I saw a picture of her, like in the article that I was reading, they had like a picture from her OnlyFans, and it was her in very sexy, very pretty lingerie, kind of lingerie that I might enjoy on any number of other women. Just not her. I was just not. She's too crazy to be sexy. She's too weird. She's too all over the road. Come on, man. She's not traditionally sexy anyway. There was never a point where like even if before we knew about the scandal about her not being black, if we had seen her, we wouldn't be like, that's a sexy woman. Like that was never her vibe. So now she's doing OnlyFans and she's walking around in lingerie. It's very weird. Eben Moss Backrack. Thank you, sir. That's Rob Barr. That's the guy I love. Eben Moss Backrack. I just could never say his name. How great is Cousin Richie? Cousin Richie is awesome, man. Was it Cousin Richie who accidentally put all the Valium in the punch at the kids' party? Was that him? Was that Cousin Richie who I think he did it intentionally because the kids' party was getting out of hand and the kids were getting all nuts, so he wanted to do something to take the edge off. So Cousin Richie just put a whole bunch of like Valium in and then there's a shot of the yard and it's just like 100 8-year-olds and they're all like sleeping in the grass because they're all pilled out. Cousin Richie is the shit. I love Cousin Richie. William Post has died. We need to say our goodbyes to the great William Post. Who is William Post? Yeah, you don't know who he is. And weirdly enough, he's got a name. Okay, so I'll tell you this. Here's why he's famous. Remember the name? William Post. William Post. Famous, I'm going to give you a hint. Famous for breakfast food. William Post? Are you getting it? Well, you'd be wrong. He's not the Post cereal guy. Isn't this weird? He's the Pop-Tart guy. This is the guy. And even weirder enough, in Grand Rapids, Michigan, like you understand, like, all breakfast cereals, all breakfast cereals come from Western Michigan. Did you know that? I don't know if anybody ever really thought about that, but the breakfast cereal industry in this country is in Grand Rapids, Battle Creek, Western Michigan, wherever that is. You got your Post, you got your Kellogg's, you got everything. You got them all there. Anyway, so he's in Western Michigan. He's making breakfast foods. He's a baker, William Post. He's making breakfast foods. He's a baker. His name is Post. So you're immediately thinking, oh, he's the guy who created Sugar Bear. Or he's the guy come to the honeycomb hideout. He's the Post cereal. No relation at all. In fact, he worked for Kellogg's. That's right. William Post, who died, worked for Kellogg's. Now, I bet you're wondering, what did he invent? He invented the Pop-Tart. All hail William Post. The man fought battles for the Pop-Tart. Nobody wanted to do it. Everybody thought that's a stupid idea. That makes no sense. You know what he did? He made a bunch of tests of the Pop-Tart and he brought it down to a local school and he let all the kids eat the Pop-Tarts and the kids declared that they were the greatest breakfast thing ever. And now we have Pop-Tarts. Tarts. Pop-Tarts. William Post, creator of the Pop-Tart. He's dead now. Ta-da! That's the show. All right, that's it. I got nothing else. Can we talk about our Pop-Tart love? We'll talk. We can talk about Pop-Tart love. Rob Barr says, I just had a Pop-Tart yesterday. First time in years. First time in years? What the hell's wrong with you, man? Pop-Tarts are a staple. I love Pop-Tarts. My son and I, though, we just breaks my heart. Every time we go down the aisle and I'm like, all right, grab some Pop-Tarts or something. I don't know, something for breakfast, blah, blah, blah. He grabs Pop-Tarts. The kid grabs the worst Pop-Tarts. The worst Pop-Tarts. Look, I'm not going to hear it. I will declare the king of the Pop-Tarts. The king of the Pop-Tarts is a rare Pop-Tart You don't see it much. But it is without a doubt, and I love Pop-Tarts, it is without a doubt the best. Pop-Tart draft! I might have to do a Pop-Tart draft. We're going to do a Pop-Tart draft. But I'm going to tell you, the cherry Pop-Tart. Cherry Pop-Tart's pretty rare. A lot of times they're not even there anymore because people snatch them up. And I think they've been doing this on purpose for the last 40 years of my life. I think they bring less cherry Pop-Tarts because, first of all, red sells more, so they know that. They bring red cherry Pop-Tarts to bring up this need for it. Supply and demand, people. I think that this has been a conspiracy going on 40 years. With a good cherry Pop-Tarts don't get. Strawberry. A lot of times you'll end up with the strawberry. All right, so number one in the Pop-Tart draft, I'm going to select cherry. Now, my son, this is where we get back to the story with my son. He's like, hey, why don't you go pick out some Pop-Tarts? He'll go over there. He brings back the worst Pop-Tarts. Like, what? Brown sugar and cinnamon? What is wrong with you? Whose child are you? It's a big thing. And then he's like, okay, I'll get something else. And then he comes back with some like zebra berry sparkle surprise. I'm like, that's not even a real Pop-Tart. Well, how about just unfrosted cinnamon? Who would want unfrosted cinnamon Pop-Tarts? You go cherry. All right, number one, cherry is my favorite Pop-Tart. Number two, you think, cherry, he's going to go all fruit. S'mores. Oh, Pop-Tart s'mores are awesome. They're like there's chocolate and there's graham cracker and there's marshmallows in there. Pop-Tart s'mores are great. Pop-Tart s'mores, by the way, also not breakfast food. That's not a breakfast food. That's like 8 o'clock at night, you're watching TV. I want something sweet. I'm going to have a Pop-Tart s'more. Number three, I'm gonna freak you out a little bit here because you might not think I'm going this way, but blueberry is the third in the Pop-Tart draft. So we got our cherry frosted. By the way, all these have the frosted top. Cherry frosted. We got the s'mores. We got the blueberry. Let's go with strawberry coming in at fourth. And what do I need? What else? Is there a lemon Pop-Tart? I don't think so. Whatever. I'm only going to do 4 Pop-Tarts because I will not make room for cinnamon or brown sugar and applesauce. I don't know. I love Pop-Tarts. Let me give you a fun fact. Here's a little consumer tip for you people. You know me because I'm broke ass, so I'm always looking for the deals. The generic Pop-Tarts. And more to the point, Dollar Tree Pop-Tarts. The Dollar Tree will sell you Pop-Tarts. They look exactly like Pop-Tarts. They're just for $1. Whereas fully branded and commercialized Pop-Tarts are going to run you like $3 or something. So just get the ones for $1. They're exactly the same. That's the same thing. It's the same thing. And they got the same flavors and all that stuff. So that's what we do. We get those. We get a bunch of those. Can I be an outraged consumer for you right now? Can I tell you something that it really upset me? I've been drinking water, so I don't have any soda. And you know me, I like to go to the Kroger and I like to buy the knockoff Coke Zeros, the Kroger brands. What Coke Zero is like usually at the Kroger, it's like $3 for a 2-liter bottle. But the Kroger brand is like $1. So I'm like, they taste the same. And actually, I think the Kroger brand might taste better. Now that's probably a result of that being what I drink mostly and what I'm most comfortable and used to, but whatever. I had to go to the 7-Eleven. You ready for this? I had to go to the 7-Eleven yesterday and buy an emergency 2-liter bottle of real Coke Zero. 2-liter bottle of Coke Zero at the 7-Eleven a block away from my house. What do you think that cost me? $5. $5. When I walked to the back to the rack where they have all the sodas and I saw the price tag that said Coke Zero, $4.85. I was like, what? Wait, what? And I bought it. I can't believe that I bought it. I was thinking, I'm like, God, I got to get back home. Do I want to go a half mile to the Kroger just to say, $5 for a 2-liter bottle of Coke Zero? What the is going on? What else am I doing? I told you I've been re-binging. I'm watching Mad Men. I watched Mad Men when it originally aired. I watched it episodically. It was never like a huge Mad Men devotee. A lot of people were like, Mad Men's the greatest show of all time. And I was always like, yeah, it's interesting. I like it. It's a good show. But I didn't have that enthusiasm for it. So I decided that after all these years, maybe I should, since there's nothing that I want to watch on TV, maybe I should go back and start watching Mad Men. So I started rewatching Mad Men, and I'm binging through it. Boop, boop, boop. It's been a couple of weeks of doing this now. It's actually going on 3 weeks. And God, that show's good. It stuck this time. It stuck for me this time because of the ability to go episode to episode to episode. Instead of just like watching an episode going, that episode was good, and then having to wait another week to watch another 1 hour installment that is going to be interrupted by commercial. Like, that sucks. I hate, you can't, but man, I'm binging this Mad Men shit. This is some Apex television. That is really, really a great show. And one of the things that I'm obsessed with is the amount of money that they are throwing around on Mad Men. I'll give you an example. So every time they say they give a dollar amount, it's always $1964. So I'm like, oh, what is that in 2024? They spent $20,000 on a bottle of wine. 20,000. Now it was like, I think it was 2,000. It's a $2,000 bottle of Pierre, whatever. And they bought it. And I'm like, wait, what's that got to be worth today? It's like 20 grand. Peggy just got lured away from Cooper, Sterling, Draper, Price, whatever. Peggy Olson, she just got lured away to go to the other firm, and they offered her $50,000 a year. And I'm like, 50 grand? That's not terrible by 2024 standards. 50 grand. That's okay. You're gonna have a side hustle, but okay. I think I did the math. I think it's like $500,000. And that's just, she was offered 500. I don't know. Lane Price just killed himself. That's the episode that I just left off at. So that's where I am. If you guys are big Mad Men fans, the last episode that I just watched, they discovered and found Lane Price's dead body. Lane Price. It's another reason why I wanted to watch this. I've told this story before. Lane Price, played by Richard Harris. No, Jared Harris. I'm sorry, Richard Harris. Yes, played by the guy who was in A Man Called Horse. No, Jared Harris, the son of Richard Harris. Jared Harris, who I've told this story before, I spent randomly just one New Year's Day with in England, just driving to military bases and all that. I've told that story about Jared Harris. He played Lloyd Price. This was back in 1997. I was in England for my wedding, honeymoon. We had a honeymoon. It was over Christmas. And it was New Year's Day. This was New Year's Day. And we wanted to watch the bowl games, but we were in England, right? And we wanted to watch Desmond Howard. I think it was the Desmond Howard, Michigan. Was it Desmond Howard? Or maybe it wasn't. I don't know, whatever it was. But there was a real reason for us to want to watch the Rose Bowl. And so we went to the one place in London on New Year's Day that was going to be showing the Rose Bowl. And it's where all the American visitors were going. And so we thought this will be fun. So we go to the Texas Embassy is what the restaurant is called. Famous restaurant, famous bar in London, the Texas Embassy. And it obviously is showing all the bowl games on New Year's. So we're at the bar and we're hanging out. We meet these people and, the other Americans. Oh, you're from America. You're from America. Where are you from? Where are you from? And all these people were talking about it. And one of the guys that was just sitting there with them was this guy, Jared. And, he was cool. He was an English guy. And he was kind of like drinking hard. Everybody was drinking. It was New Year's Day. We're all partying. He's a good looking young guy. Didn't really learn much about him, but I'm sitting there and I'm talking to him and he's asking me about America and we're talking about stuff. And he said, yeah, he's like, he was there because he loves American football, because he spends a whole lot of time in California. Never told me anything about anything. Didn't say anything about anything. He's just like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I'm a big fan of Stanford, blah, blah, blah. My mom went to Stanford or whatever, that he's having these nice conversations, but he's an Englishman. He's a very nice Englishman. And again, this is 1997. And then, the night goes on and we're all mixing around with these people. And it was the late game and the Texas Embassy was going to close. So I think in England, for some reason, like the Rose Bowl was coming on the air at like 3 a.m. English time. And we were all like, no, we got to go find a place to watch it. So we ended up, somebody in our group knew somebody at an American military base that was like 20 miles outside of London. So we all got in cabs, like 50 Americans looking to watch the Rose Bowl late at night on New Year's Day in England. We get in cabs and we drive out and we get to this American military base, and the cabs pull up. And the person said, yeah, I'm here looking for so-and-so. And they let us in because they knew we were coming. They invited us. And they had this big giant party. There was like all the American military soldiers who were stationed there in England at 3:00 in the morning had this entire rec hall with beer flowing and music playing and a big screen projection TV showing the bowl games. It was freaking awesome. I had such a good time. And then the next morning, I think it was my wife who said, so do you know who Jared's dad is? Have you ever heard of that guy? And I'm like, I was drunk. I'm like, who? What? You know, Jared, his dad. Do you know who that guy is? And I'm like, what? And she goes, his dad is supposedly some famous actor. You didn't know that? And I go, no. I'm like, who's his dad? And she's like, I don't know, Richard Harris. And I'm like, what? Wait, that was Jared Harris I'm hanging out with all night in London watching football with? I mean, if I ran into him ever, I could say, where did you watch the 1998 Rose Bowl? And he'll go, funny story. I was with some American friends, and we ended up at a military base. I'm like, yeah, I was there. That was me. I was the newlywed. He went on to be Jared Harris. And now he's like a big famous actor in his own right, because as it turns out, he was, in fact, the son of Richard Harris. Sorry, Sir Richard Harris. A Man Called Horse. What else did Richard Harris do? MacArthur Park is melting in the dark. He was a singer too. Richard Harris. Jared Harris. Mad Men. Lane Price. That's where I left off with Mad Men. My old drinking pal, Jared Harris, hung himself. I got nothing else. I'm out. This stream of consciousness is done. Guess that's why I drink so much Fireball. What is Fireball? Barney says, when I was very young, like 4 to 6, I would wake up early Saturday morning and make 4 slices of cinnamon toast. Okay. I'm going to stop reading. Cinnamon. You said cinnamon. I don't like cinnamon. I don't know what the hell cinnamon's all about. That's not a thing that I enjoy. Cinnamon on its own is freaking awful. You got to add sugar to it. Sugar cinnamon is okay. I can get behind, because that's like a cinnamon roll, which is delicious, but I don't know. I just don't like cinnamon. All right, I'm done. Oh, that's what it is. Barney says, I guess that's why I drink so much Fireball. There you go, Barney. Come get it, my guy. I got stuff to do. Got a lot of stuff to do today. All right, I'm out of here. I love you guys. This is it. The stream is done. If you want to support the show, please do. Help us out in any way you can. Every little bit goes to keeping this show running for another month. We'll be back tomorrow at noon. I am Pugs Moran. This has been the High Noon Rant, and I am out of words.